So I was actually year after year, I was just like putting in energy, couldn't sleep at night because I had a crying kid every night for years and 6 years in a row. So finally, my energy, where I thought I still have some energy, it was slowly going down. And I think everybody here knows that you slowly get used to the level where you are and you think you are doing okay. Turned out that at one point, I did not do okay. I got into a burnout, went to the doctor, and they said, just take it easy and it will be okay. So I did that, turned to my second burnout from that, did the same action, take it easy. And finally, when I got like within 3 years in my third burnout, I thought like, I need to do something. I had an education as a nurse for 20 years. I had an education as a bioenergetic therapist, which is psychotherapy with body work. So I really knew I need to do more than just take it easy. So I went deep into myself. And at the same time, I started Heart Coherence that came on my path. And I'm the kind of person who believes that when something keeps coming on your path, it's telling you something. And that's what Heart Coherence did. So finally, I thought, okay, I need to do something. So I started Heart Coherence. And man, did I learn what relaxation was when I started that. I thought I was relaxed a lot of times, but I learned what real relaxation felt like. I was sitting behind my computer because that's where I did Heart Coherence like 3 times a day for half an hour. I told everybody I'm hooked to my computer in a different way that kids are nowadays. I was like doing my exercises. And why? Because every time I was sitting there, it was like all this load was falling off me. And it was like, wow, a world opened up again. And I felt like great. So every time, like after so many hours, I could feel the stress little building up a little bit. So, oh no, that's not going to happen again. I want to be relaxed. So that's why I did it 3 times a day. And the weird thing was 1.5 months, I was out of my burnout completely. And I had more confidence, self-confidence, feeling of self-worth, energy, everything you long for. I had that back. And I started my own company even, which I wanted for 20 years, but I never had the guts for it. And now I felt like I have this guts. It was amazing. The only thing is, I didn't understand, why can I be out of this burnout so quick? So I decided to do the education on Heart Coherence. And I don't know if you have an expression, we have an expression here that all quarters fell into place. And it was like, now I understand, wow, it is so easy to get out of a burnout and stay out of a burnout and to regulate your own stress levels. So I just had to make it my job. I did in all of meanwhile, I had done my trainer coach education. So I decided to start as a coach because I could make my own hours also, which is possible with the kids because they needed a lot more attention. Because the problems with my kids stayed, what my son needed was really the opposite what my daughter needed. And after a while, but I never could, my husband did not let me do, how do you call it, research on what was going on with the kids. Go to a doctor and find out things like that. He wouldn't let me do that. And then finally, after my son, and that always touches me again, I'm sorry for that. When he started, when he was 7 years old, he said, I don't want to live no more. I want to die, because he felt dumb, etc. And that was the point that my husband, ex-husband, finally decided it's okay to find out what's going on with him. And that's why we figured out that he had a autism disorder. It was like, you don't want to put a stamp on a kid, you definitely don't. But having this clear, it was like heaven. I got tips on how to go around with that. I had searched for that for years, and it was like beyond my power, even as a therapist already. But it bred me always for the people around you. You don't know it for yourself. So I was so glad. And I also finally, for the first time in my being a mom, I heard somebody saying, you did a great job, because I always went on my intuition to go around with my kids, and the whole world, my family, my friends, my ex-husband, they all said, you're doing it wrong. You shouldn't do it like that. You should go around with the kids that way. You should be tougher and things like that. So I sticked with my intuition and my knowledge and my feelings. And finally, I got to hear from a professional that I had done the right thing. So it was like, gosh, a load that fell off my shoulders.
Absolutely.
So
And that, I think that's a huge key point of, as a parent, trusting your intuition. Like when everyone in the world around you, except for the professionals, but like you were getting so much feedback of you're doing it wrong, you're not doing it right, and you just trust. What did it take from you to just stand up and continue every step of the way to trust your intuition?
it was like all the time I had this, call it voices, inner voices, I don't know, that kept saying, you are doing the right thing, stick with it. And actually looking at my kids, how glad they were to be with me. Even my son having his tantrum, he had autism and ADHD. So that's a great combination if you want to have someone who needs a lot of attention, doesn't want to listen, and is really busy. It keeps you busy. And it was like, I just felt like I had to do it. And I also went to what we call here alternative medicine.